just a little background about the strength and the opportunity that's been given to us with the XRF. These XRFs, these portable XRFs or pXRF instruments, allows us to conduct continuously result-driven, streamlined exploration. And that's important for all stakeholders. It allows money to be directed in the correct direction, which is more drilling. More drilling leads to discoveries, but as well as for us to not miss any opportunities. We are lucky in the sense that we have visible monazite. We have large crystal monazite on our project, and we are able to see that visually in grab samples, as you can see on the left-hand side from one of our targets in the far north. We have picked up visual monazite in grab samples in and around, pending assay results. And these are selective grab samples. What that does show is that we do have the ability to select visually samples that we want to sample. From RC drilling, reverse circular drilling, you're crushing up the rock mechanically and you're getting small chips up. And sometimes there are areas that potentially are missed because the visual indications aren't there. And also geologists tend to naturally be drawn to something that visually catches your eyes. The XRF, however, allows us to continually be sampling and getting full information straight away to direct that we're A, correctly sampling, but also B, directing finances and exploration efforts towards the correct areas. So we've highlighted three main advantages that the XRF has given us. The first one, obviously, is for our in-field ground truthing and guiding our ongoing exploration campaign. It allows us to quickly assess targets that we've identified, allows us to correctly position the XRF based on soil sampling and other sampling techniques, trenching and pitting. And that allows us to move on to the next stage, exploration drilling with the RC machine. The XRF allows us to collect a continual elemental composition database down the hole. So every meter that we drill, we have an understanding of where we're in, the geochemical makeup of that lithology, as well as if it carries any mineralization. And this is extremely important for exploration. The reality is more data leads to a better understanding, leads to a higher discovery potential. And since 2020, when we started our exploration efforts as a group on this project, we have built a significant exploration database. And from a geological understanding, we have a lot firmer understanding of what we're targeting and why we're targeting it. Our pXRF also allows us to go back historically as we learn more and understand more about our geological controls as well as our deposit. It allows us to go back and rework historical samples that previously wouldn't have been seen as viable to be sent as wet assays. Wet assays for rare earths are very costly. We have to be selective on that to preserve exploration spend, but also the turnaround time previously due to COVID-related issues were costly in the fact that geologists were acting blind in the field. This machine negates all of that, gives us preliminary information that allows us to act on a continual basis and allows us to explore at a fraction of the cost because we're not exploring blind and we are only exploring on viable information that we have on that.
And Chris, if I could just add a little bit, I think that we would consider the XRF, we've mentioned this before, it's a bit of a game changer for us because realistically, as Chris said, you know, when you're out in the field looking at outcrop or you're looking at structure, you're out there a little bit just sort of blind and looking at what you can see. You know, this gives us immediate feedback at a fairly low cost. Assay delay is a substantial issue in exploration today, as I think we're all aware of some of the pressures that assay delay has put on the exploration industry. And while it's not conclusive, it gives us great feedback very quickly and at a low cost, and allows us to continually hone that program.
Exactly, and you know, we also are, as you can see on, and I'll go back, as you can see, we are in an arid area, not a lot of outcrop presenting itself. So we are being led by geochemical signatures. And the cost of submitting geochemical samples for a widespread sampling program that then potentially leads into a drilling program might lead to a bias that is formed. We now have the ability to sample without concern on a cost basis. It is just led technically, and that was one of the successful components that happened in November last year in identifying, you know, the first 17 targets that, you know, have definitely led to this drilling that we're doing now. And this increase in footprint, and I'll go back one more. On the right-hand side, I'll get my pointer up here. This square box is where our current resources in, and over here where my pointer is exactly where our 310,000 tons at 4% TREO sits. The significance of what we've been able to do in 4 months is we've increased our footprint by just below 80% in exploration, but we've also been able to identify areas that are presenting to carry similar mineralization and endowment capabilities. Mines are mines, and we're looking to create potential, long-term potential here with long-term tonnage, with still maintaining our golden factor, which is our processability and our winnable product.